Image prompt. The rain hammered down like accusations from the sky, soaking Alex Rivera to the bone as he stood frozen on the dock, watching his mother's laughter echo from the warm glow of the house he once called home. In that single, shattering moment, he realized his world had been rewritten without him, erased like a footnote in someone else's love story. But as the door clicked shut behind the newlyweds, sealing him out forever, Alex couldn't shake the fleeting glance from his stepfather's eyes. Not pity, not disdain, but a haunted flicker that whispered of secrets buried deeper than the lake's murky depths. Alex stumbled back to his beat-up Subaru, the engine coughing to life like a reluctant confession, and drove through Seattle's blurred neon veins toward the only refuge he knew, a cramped studio apartment in Capitol Hill, where the walls vibrated with the pulse of a city that didn't care about broken families. At 22, he was supposed to be chasing dreams, graphic design gigs, late-night sketches of fantastical worlds where love didn't come with fine print. Instead, he was unraveling the threads of his own identity, snipped short by Sarah's whirlwind romance with David Harlan. It had started innocently enough 6 months ago, when Sarah, widowed for 5 years after Dad's car accident, met David at a charity gala for local artists. He was the picture of stability, a tech consultant in his late 40s, broad-shouldered with a quiet charisma that masked the steel in his gaze, his salt and pepper hair always impeccably combed. Sarah had bloomed under his attention, her laughter returning like spring after a long gray winter. Alex had even liked him at first, David's dry wit over dinner, the way he'd ask about Alex's sketches without the pitying side most straight folks gave. But then came the wedding, a lavish affair on the waterfront, white tints billowing like sails against the Puget Sound. Alex had stood at the altar as best man, forcing a smile while vows sealed a union that felt like his eviction notice. Family first, Sarah had whispered to him that morning, her hands trembling as she adjusted his tie. David understands that. He wanted to believe her. God, he did. But 2 weeks later, the calls stopped. The texts went unread. Invites to family dinners evaporated into awkward excuses about adjusting to married life. And when Alex showed up unannounced last night, cake in hand for what was supposed to be a casual catch-up, David had opened the door with that same unreadable stare, murmuring, "Not a good time, kid," before Sarah appeared, her face a mask of forced cheer. "Honey, we're so busy. Call next week." The door had closed softly, but it echoed like a slam. Now, alone in the dim flicker of his apartment's single bulb, Alex collapsed onto the futon, the weight of erasure crushing his chest. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through faded photos. Him and Sarah at Pride last year, rainbows painted on their cheeks, her arms slung around his shoulders in fierce solidarity. "You're my brave boy," she'd said then, after he came out at 18, her tears a mix of pride and fear. Dad had been gone 2 years by then, his absence a void that Sarah filled with work and worry. Alex had leaned into his art, into hookups that fizzled into nothing, into the vibrant chaos of Seattle's queer scene where he could breathe without apology. But this was betrayal wrapped in taffeta. A knock shattered the silence, sharp, insistent. Alex froze, heart pounding. Who the hell? He cracked the door, peering into the hallway shadows. There stood Elias, his neighbor from across the hall, all lean muscle and easy grace, towel drying his damp black hair after a run. 24, barista by day, musician by night, with warm brown skin that glowed under the fluorescent lights and eyes like polished obsidian that always seemed to see too much. They'd bonded over shared walls and late-night playlists bleeding through the vents. Elias's indie folk strums answering Alex's lo-fi beats. Rough night. Elias's voice was low, laced with that subtle lilt from his Mexican-American roots, his tank top clinging to the ridges of his abs for whatever gym ritual he swore by. He held up a six-pack of local IPA, condensation beating like sweat. Heard the door slam earlier. Figured you could use backup. Alex managed a wry smile, stepping aside. You psychic or just nosy? Both. Mostly the beer. Elias slipped in, kicking off his sneakers with practiced ease, his presence filling the space like a melody resolving a dissonant chord. They cracked cans, the hiss a small rebellion, and sank onto the floor amid scattered sketch pads. Elias didn't pry at first, just let the silence stretch companionable, his knee brushing Alex's in a spark that neither acknowledged yet. But the words tumbled out anyway, Alex's voice cracking like thunder. "My mom's new husband. It's like I don't exist anymore. Gay son? What gay son? Just poof, erased. He laughed bitterly, the sound hollow. Elias's hand found his shoulder, steady and warm, thumb tracing a slow circle that sent heat pooling in Alex's gut. That's bullshit, Elias said simply, his gaze locking on, fierce and unflinching. You're not erasable, Alex. Not to me. The air thickened, charged with the unsaid, the way Elias's lips parted slightly, the hitch in his breath. Alex leaned in, or maybe Elias did, and their mouths met in a collision of need and solace, tasting of hops and heartache. It was messy, urgent, Elias's fingers threading through Alex's curls as if anchoring him to the earth. For the first time in weeks, Alex felt seen, not as a problem to sideline, but as a story worth telling. They broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed together, Elias's whisper hot against his skin. Stay with me tonight. No strings, just this. Alex nodded, the knot in his chest loosening just a fraction. But as they tangled on the futon, bodies moving in a rhythm born of shared vulnerability, a shadow lingered in Alex's mind, that glance from David, heavy with unspoken weight. What truth hid behind the silence of a man who watched his stepson vanish without a fight? The next morning dawned gray and unrelenting, Seattle's fog curling like fingers through the cracked window. Elias stirred first, his lithe form slipping from the sheets to brew coffee in the tiny kitchenette, the aroma a tentative promise. Alex watched him from the bed, tracing the tattoo, snaking up Elias's forearm, a winding river of ink symbolizing journeys unfinished. 24 felt worlds away from Alex's 22. Elias carrying the easy confidence of someone who'd clawed his way through foster homes and open mics, turning pain into poetry. Black, 2 sugars? Elias called, pouring with a flourish. You remember. Alex sat up, sheets pooling around his waist, the vulnerability of last night settling into something softer, more dangerous. Hope. Elias handed him the mug, settling beside him with legs crossed, their shoulders brushing. Details stick when they matter. He paused, sipping thoughtfully. So what's the plan? Confront the Ice Queen and her knight in shining armor. Alex snorted, but the humor faded quick. I don't know. Part of me wants to storm back, demand answers. But what if it's just me? Too queer, too much baggage for their perfect reboot. Elias's eyes darkened, hand finding Alex's knee under the covers. Nah, that's the fear talking. I've seen you sketch those wild worlds, dragons and lovers defying kings. You're the hero here, not the side character they try to cut. The words landed like sunlight piercing clouds, warming Alex from the inside. They spent the day like thieves stealing time. A walk through Pike Place Market, dodging tourists while Elias haggled for fresh salmon with theatrical flair, his laughter pulling Alex from the abyss. By afternoon, they were back in the apartment, Elias strumming his guitar on the fire escape, Alex sketching him against the skyline. Bold lines capturing the curve of his jaw, the intensity in his gaze. It felt romantic, this budding thing between them, fragile as cherry blossoms but rooted deep. Yet the pull of the unanswered nod. That evening, as Elias headed to his shift at the coffee shop, Alex's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Alone. DH. David's initials hit like a gut punch. Heart racing, Alex replied. Where? The old mill by the lake. 8 p.m. Come solo. The abandoned mill loomed on the edge of Lake Union, its rusted silos skeletal against the twilight, a relic from Seattle's industrial ghosts. Alex arrived early, the crunch of gravel under his boots the only sound besides his thudding pulse. Why here? Why now? He paced a weed-choked lot, mind-spinning scenarios, a lecture on boundaries, a check to buy silence, or worse, some half-baked intervention. Headlights sliced the dusk. David's truck pulled up, the engine cutting with finality. He stepped out, taller than Alex remembered, his flannel shirt rolled to elbows, revealing forearms corded from weekend hikes. No smile, just that same shadowed intensity. Thanks for coming, he said, voice gravelly, extending a hand that Alex ignored. Cut the polite crap. What's this about? Finally decided to evict me officially? David winced, rubbing his neck. Not that. Look, kid, Alex, I know this sucks. Sarah's. She's scared. The marriage. It's her fresh start, but you're collateral in her head. Collateral? I'm her son. Alex's voice cracked, fists clenching. And you? You're just along for the ride, pretending I don't exist. David's jaw tightened, eyes flicking to the mill's darkened maw. If only it were that simple. He hesitated, the silence stretching taut as a wire. Walk with me. They moved toward the structure, boots echoing on decayed boards. Inside, the air hung heavy with dust and forgotten machinery, shafts of fading light piercing the gloom. David stopped by a rusted conveyor, leaning against it like a man confessing to stone. I didn't fight for you because I couldn't. Not without dragging up shit that'd break everything. Alex's breath caught. What shit? Just say it. David met his gaze, raw and unguarded. 20 years ago, I had a life like yours. My guy. We built something real in this town, away from prying eyes. But when it blew up, I buried it. Deep. Sarah doesn't know. Hell, I barely acknowledge it to myself. The revelation landed like a wave crashing over Alex, stealing his air. David, stoic, straight-laced David was. Like him, gay. B. The labels blurred in the dim light, but the truth hummed electric. Why tell me now? Because seeing you shut out? It's like watching my younger self get erased all over again. David's voice roughened, hands scrubbing over his face. I thought silence protected everyone, kept the peace. But it's poison, Alex. And you're stronger than I ever was. For the first time, Alex saw the cracks in the facade, the weariness in David's posture, the flicker of regret. It didn't excuse the hurt, but it humanized the villain he'd painted. Does Mom know any of this? Not yet, and maybe not ever. David straightened, resolve hardening. But I'll talk to her. Make space for you, if you let me try. Alex nodded slowly, the knot in his throat easing. As they walked back to the lot, the rain starting again in soft patter, something shifted, a bridge forming over the chasm. David clapped his shoulder, grip firm. Your family, kid. Erasure's not the end. It's just a plot twist. Back home, Elias waited with takeout Thai and a playlist of brooding ballads. Alex spilled it all over steaming pad CEW. Elias's reactions a perfect counterpoint. Outrage for the pain, awe at the vulnerability. Damn, he murmured for paused mid-air. Your stepdad's got layers. Like a queer onion. Laughter bubbled up, genuine and freeing. They cleared plates, bodies gravitating closer. The kiss this time slower, exploratory. Elias's hands mapping Alex's back with reverence. Whispers of you're incredible punctuating the heat. It was romantic, this dance of discovery, laced with the promise of tomorrows unmarred by solitude. But peace was fleeting. 2 days later, Sarah called. Alex, we need to talk. Dinner at the house. Bring Elias if you want. The invitation trembled with nerves, but it was there, an olive branch, fragile but extended. The waterfront home shimmered under string lights that evening, the lake a mirror to the stars emerging overhead. Elias squeezed Alex's hand as they approached, his presence a shield. Inside, Sarah enveloped Alex in a hug that smelled of lavender and regret, her eyes red-rimmed. David hovered in the kitchen, uncorking wine with steady hands, his nod to Alex carrying new weight. Dinner unfolded in fits and starts. Small talk about Elias's gigs, Alex's latest design project. Then Sarah set down her fork, voice quivering. I messed up, baby. After your dad. I was so afraid of losing more. David and we rushed, and I let fear push you away. I'm sorry. Tears welled, spilling over as she reached for his hand. You're my son, my everything. Gay or not, that's not changing. David cleared his throat, glancing at Alex with a subtle nod. We both want you here. No more silence. Elias chimed in, his charm disarming the tension. Appreciate the save. Alex is one of the good ones. Keeps me grounded with his art. The evening stretched into laughter, stories weaving a tapestry of forgiveness. As they left, arms linked, Alex felt the erasure lift like fog burning off. But deeper currents stirred, David's secret a shared thread, binding them in quiet solidarity. Weeks blurred into a rhythm of healing. Alex and Elias deepened, their romance blooming in stolen weekends. Hikes in the Olympics where Elias carved their initials into a cedar, whispered sonnets under Cascadian pines. Gallery nights where Alex's sketches of Elias, raw, intimate, drew murmurs of soulful. Elias's music wove in, a folk album inspired by the guy who redrew my map, played at a packed show where Alex cheered from the front, heart swelling. Family mended too. Sunday brunches became ritual. Sarah's famous quiches paired with David's grilling tips. Conversations skirting edges, but never slicing deep. Yet Alex caught David's glances, knowing, encouraging, fueling his own courage. He started a blog, anonymous at first, vignettes of queer erasure, reclaimed through art and love. Followers trickled in, then surged, voices echoing his, "You made me visible again." But tension simmered. One crisp October afternoon, as leaves turned fiery, Elias burst into the apartment, face ashen. "Alex, you gotta see this." He thrust his phone forward, a viral post from a local gossip account. Tech mogul David Harlan's dirty secret? Insider claims hidden past with ex-lover. Attached a blurry photo. Young David, arm around a man who looked eerily like Alex's dad? No, impossible. But the resemblance chilled. Panic clawed. Ow! Who? Anonymous tip. It's blowing up. Elias paced, worry etching his brow. Your mom's gonna freak. And David. Alex's mind raced to the mill, David's confession. This wasn't coincidence. Someone knew, had always known. He texted David, "We need to meet. Now." The lakeside park was deserted, wind whipping waves into frenzy. David arrived disheveled, eyes bloodshot. "It's out. God damn it. Who tipped them?" Alex demanded, Elias a solid presence at his side. David sagged onto a bench, the fight draining. "My ex Marcus. We split ugly, jealousy denial. He moved east, but Seattle's small for grudges. Saw the wedding pics online, connected dots to you. Thinks he's freeing me." The pieces clicked. Marcus, the ghost in David's silence, now a specter unraveling lives. Sarah's call came mid-confession, voice shrill through the speaker. "David, the internet says. Is it true? About you and a man?" David took the phone, voice steady as steel. "Yes, Sarah. It's true. Past, not present. But it doesn't change us, unless you let it." Silence stretched eternal. Then soft, "Come home. We talk. All of us." The Harlan Rivera home that night was a battlefield of emotions. Sarah paced the living room, wine glass trembling, while Elias brewed tea like a peacekeeping diplomat. David laid it bare. The college love with Marcus. The heartbreak that sent him running to closets and careers. The marriage to Sarah as genuine anchor, flawed but real. "I had to protect you both," he said, voice breaking. "But hiding Alex? That was the real crime." Sarah turned to Alex, tears carving paths. "I knew. Suspected. After you came out, it terrified me. Mirrors, you know? But I love you. All of you." She pulled David close, then Alex, Elias hovering until drawn in, a messy huddle of limbs and sobs. Outside, the storm broke, rain cleansing the air. In the quiet after, Elias kissed Alex's temple. Plot twist achieved. But the leak's ripple spread. Reporters camped the next day, flashes like vultures. David's firm suspended him pending review. Whispers of contracts lost. Alex's blog exploded. Supporters rallying with unerased queer, but trolls spewing venom. Elias's gigs filled with curious crowds. His lyrics now dissected for inspiration sources. Through it, their love fortified. Late nights, Elias would hum originals while Alex sketched manifestos, bodies entwined in defiance. "We're unbreakable," Elias murmured once, tracing Alex's collarbone. "Like that river on my arm, bends but doesn't break." David fought back publicly, a statement owning his bisexuality, framing it as a chapter, not the book. Sarah stood beside, arm-linked, her own essay in a local mag. "My son taught me visibility." The backlash stung, but allies surged. Pride organizers offering platforms, therapists specializing in family reckonings. High drama peaked at a community forum, Alex moderating a panel on queer erasure. David spoke last, voice resonant. "Silence hid my truth, but love demands light. My stepson showed me that." Applause thundered, Alex's chest tight with pride. Elias proposed that night, impromptu on the dock where it began, a simple silver band etched with intertwined rivers. "Marry me? Let's rewrite endings together." Tears blurred the yes, their kiss sealing vows under stars. Months later, the Harlan Rivera clan gathered for Thanksgiving, table groaning with fusion feasts. Sarah's turkey alongside Elias's mole. David raised a glass, eyes twinkling, to truths unveiled and families remade. Alex clinked, Elias's hand warm in his. Erasure was the villain's opening gambit, but love? Love was the epic triumph, a story etched in hearts, unerasable. As winter gripped Seattle in its icy embrace, the newly engaged couple navigated the labyrinth of wedding plans amid the lingering echoes of scandal. Alex and Elias holed up in their apartment, now a shared haven with Elias's guitar propped in the corner and Alex's sketchpads spilling across every surface. The ring on Alex's finger caught the light like a beacon, a constant reminder that some chapters defied deletion. But the world's scrutiny lingered, a low hum beneath their joy, tabloid snippets questioning David's comeback, Sarah's social circle fracturing with whispers of judgment. One frosty morning, as snow dusted the evergreens outside their window, Elias stirred Alex with a kiss to his shoulder. "Up and at 'em, artist boy. We got venue scouting today." His voice was sleep-rough, affectionate, the kind of normalcy that still felt like luxury after the chaos. Alex groaned, burrowing deeper into the warmth of Elias's chest. "Can't we elope? Vegas, Elvis, done." But he smiled, the banter a ritual that grounded him. At 22, marriage had seemed a distant fairy tale, especially after the erasure sting. Now, with Elias, 24, steady as the sound's tides, it was tangible, a vow against vanishing. They bundled into coats and scarves, venturing into the city's holiday bustle. First stop, a quaint chapel in Fremont, its stained glass depicting trolls and gnomes in rainbow hues, a nod to Seattle's quirky soul. The officiant, a drag queen named sequin-clad Madame Vortex, twirled dramatically. Darlings, this spot screams happily queer ever after. Imagine vows with fairy lights and fog machines. Romantic fog, not the depressing kind. Elias laughed, pulling Alex close. "Sold, as long as there's room for my band's acoustic set." His fingers laced through Alex's, thumb stroking the ring, a simple gesture that sent sparks up his arm. In moments like these, the romance felt effortless, a counterpoint to the kinks in their story. But as they toured, Alex's phone buzzed incessantly. Messages from his blog community, supportive shares, but also a DM that chilled him. "You think it's over? Harlan's got more skeletons. Ask about the accident." Attached, a grainy scan of a police report. Dad's car crash, 5 years prior. David's name circled in red, noted as a witness at the scene. Heart slamming, Alex showed Elias in the chapel's vestibule, away from prying eyes. "What the hell? Dad's accident." David was there. Elias's face hardened, protective fire in his eyes. Coincidence? Or, we confront him. Tonight. David agreed to meet at a neutral spot, a dimly lit pub in Ballard, its walls lined with nautical charts and the scent of clam chowder thick in the air. He arrived solo, Sarah at home, nursing a migraine from stress. The three slid into a booth, tension crackling like static. "Talk," Alex said flatly, sliding the printout across the scarred wood. David's face paled, fingers drumming the table. "I was there. That night. I saw the crash. Your dad, swerving off the interstate. I pulled over, called 911. But when the cops asked, I froze. Didn't give my full name. Left before statements." "What?" Elias leaned in, voice low but edged. David's gaze dropped, shame etching lines deeper. "Marcus, we were fighting that night bad. He'd follow me from a bar, tailgating in rage. Your dad's car clipped us, spun out. I panicked, thought it'd drag everything up. My secret, the affair Sarah didn't know about then. So I ghosted the scene." Alex's world tilted, betrayal fresh and raw. "You left my dad dying because of your closet?" "No." David's whisper was fierce, eyes glistening. "He was gone when I checked. Paramedics came fast. But yeah, I ran. Cowardice. It's why I pursued Sarah later. Guilt, redemption. Marrying into your family? Fate's cruel joke." Elias's hand found Alex's under the table, squeezing. The silence stretched, heavy with the weight of unintended sins. "Does Mom know? Not this. Please, let me tell him my way." Alex nodded numbly, storming out into the sleet-lashed night. Elias followed, wrapping him in a hug against the pub's brick wall. "Breathe, love. This doesn't erase us." But it gnawed, a shadow over their light. That night, tangled in sheets, Elias's touches were tender maps of reassurance. Kisses trailing from jaw to hip, murmurs of, "You're my anchor," dissolving the chill. Their lovemaking was slow, reverent, bodies speaking what words couldn't. Endurance, passion, unbroken. Sarah learned the next day, over emergency coffee at the house. Her reaction shattered Alex, sobs racking her frame, not at David's queerness, but the lie's depth. He witnessed and said nothing. She clutched Alex's hands, knuckles white. I forgave the past because I thought it was just old ghosts. Not this. David knelt before her, voice cracking. I can't undo it, but I can live honest now, for you, for Alex. The room held its breath. Sarah's gaze flicked to Alex, then Elias, drawing strength. We rebuild. Therapy, truths, all in. But no more hiding. The family dove into counseling sessions in a cozy office overlooking the market, unpacking layers like onions indeed. Dr. Lena, a no-nonsense lesbian with a penchant for metaphors, guided them. Accidents happen. Secrets fester. Choose light. Meanwhile, wedding fever ramped. Alex channeled turmoil into designs. Invites etched with phoenixes rising from waves, symbolizing rebirth. Elias's band rehearsed love songs laced with their story's grit, lyrics about drowning doubts in your eyes. Spring teased with blooms, and the chapel booking solidified. But drama lurked. Marcus resurfaced, emailing David a venomous ultimatum. Retract your statement, or I go nuclear. Full details on the crash. Proof attached. Timestamps, photos from that fateful night. David showed the family during a tense dinner, plates untouched. He's bluffing. Or is he? Alex's resolve hardened. We fight. Publicly. Turn the poison into power. They crafted a joint op-ed for the Seattle Times. From crash to coming out, a family's reckoning. David's words led. Owning the flight, the bisexuality, the stepfather's vow to atone. Sarah's followed. Fierce maternal love, transcending labels. Alex's closed. Erasure tried to silence us. Love amplified. Publication day brought a media storm. Interviews, protests of support outside the paper's offices. Trolls howled online, but family in a race trended, queer icons amplifying. Elias performed an acoustic set at a rally, dedicating to the man who taught me visibility starts at home. Through the frenzy, their romance deepened. Picnics in Discovery Park, where Elias proposed a toast with craft cider. To plot twists that lead to you. Alex pulled him down for a kiss, grass tickling their skin, the world fading to just them. Marcus backed off, exposed as the bitter architect. David's firm reinstated him, crediting his candor. Sarah started a support group for families of queer youth, her laughter returning fuller. As summer waned, the wedding dawned perfect. Fremont Chapel aglow, friends in floral crowns. Madame Vortex officiating with flair. Vows exchanged. Elias's, I'll sing your story forever. Alex's, you'll never be erased from mine. The reception spilled into a lakeside pavilion, dances under lanterns. David pulled Alex aside, mid-waltz with Sarah. Proud of you, son. Truth set us free. Alex hugged him tight. Took all of us. Elias swept him back to the floor, their bodies sinking in joyful sway. In that moment, amid laughter and toasts, the narrative complete, from erasure's void to love's indelible ink. Summer's afterglow lingered into fall, the newlyweds settling into a rhythm that felt like breathing, easy, essential. Alex and Elias had upgraded to a one-bedroom in Queen, and its balcony overlooking the Olympics, a space alive with canvases and chord progressions. At 23 now, Alex's graphic design career bloomed. A queer-owned startup scooped his Phoenix series for their branding, billboards proclaiming Rise Unerased across the city. Elias's album, Rivers Bound, charted indie lists, tours beckoning but always circling home. Their marriage was a quiet revolution. Mornings tangled in sunlit sheets, Elias's fingers tracing wedding bands like Braille of belonging. Evenings cooking fusion. Elias's enchiladas spiked with Alex's experimental sauces, debates over playlists dissolving into slow dances in the kitchen. Romance wove through the mundane, a thread of heat and tenderness. Stolen glances over coffee, whispered, I love yous that still sparked butterflies. But family fractures, though mended, left scars prone to itching. Sarah and David's therapy continued, sessions yielding breakthroughs. Date nights rediscovering sparks, joint volunteering at youth center where Alex guest spoke on art as armor. Yet whispers persisted. Neighbors' sidelong looks, a cousin's Facebook unfollow. David bore it stoically, but Alex caught the strain in his stepfather's slumped shoulders during visits. One amber afternoon, as leaves carpeted the parks, Sarah called in tears. It's the center, funding cuts. The kids. They need this place. The youth hub, her passion project, teetered on closure, a casualty of budget slashes in the state's queer support programs. Alex rallied immediately. We'll save it. Crowdfund, events, whatever. Elias grinned, already strumming ideas. Concert series. My band's in, plus guests. David arrived that evening, eyes alight with uncharacteristic fire. I've got connections. Old firm buddies in philanthropy. But it'll take noise, media momentum. The plan coalesced over pizza and Prosecco, a gala fundraiser, themed visible voices. Alex on visuals, murals of intertwined stories. Elias curating the soundtrack. Sarah emceeing with heartfelt pleas. David wrangling sponsors. Prep was a whirlwind of kismet and crisis. Alex sketched late into nights. Elias's lullabies his muse. Their bed a sanctuary of recharge. Love-making fierce one evening. After a sponsor flaked, Elias pinning Alex against the balcony rail, breaths mingling with city hums. You're my fire. Soft the next, exploratory touches mapping new freckles from sun-kissed hikes. Tensions flared midweek. A reporter dug up the crash again, twisting it into Harlan's hypocrisy, hiding while youth suffer. David cracked during a strategy call, voice booming. Damn vultures. I own my mistakes. Why can't they? Sarah soothed, but Alex saw the toll, pulling David aside post-call. Hey, you're the guy who faced the mill shadows. This, just more light. David's grip on Alex's shoulder was grateful, paternal. Learn from the best, kid. The gala night shimmered under chandeliers of the youth center's renovated hall, transformed with Alex's murals. Vibrant tapestries of hands linking across divides, rainbows bleeding into sunsets. Guests mingled, queer elders swapping tales, teens with fresh tattoos of solidarity, donors in tailored suits. Elias opened acoustically, his voice a velvet rope pulling hearts. This one's for the erased, remade in love. Sarah followed, poised yet passionate. These walls hold stories like my son's, nearly silenced, but roaring back. Applause crested as David took the mic, announcing a matching grant from Harlan Tech, $50K, doubled by you all. Cheers erupted, but midway through Alex's design showcase, chaos intruded. Marcus stormed the stage. Mike snatched, face twisted in drunken fury. Lies. Harlan ran from that crash, left a man to die for his dirty secret. Gasps rippled. Security edged forward, but Alex vaulted on stage, heart thundering. Enough. His voice cut sharp, amplified by sheer will. Yeah, David ran, scared human. But he's owned it, built from ashes. You? Still hiding in hate. Elias joined, arm around Alex's waist, a united front. The crowd murmured, then roared approval as guards escorted Marcus out, his rants dissolving into the night. Sarah hugged them post-turmoil, tears proud. My heroes. Funds poured in, goals smashed, center saved. But the confrontation lingered, a catalyst. David confronted Marcus legally next day, a restraining order laced with cease and desist. No more ghosts, he told Alex over coffee, voice lighter. Thanks to you. Fall deepened. Holidays approaching with tentative joy. The family hosted a pre-Thanksgiving hike, boots crunching crimson trails in the Cascades. Elias and Alex led, hands clasped, pausing at a vista for a kiss that tasted of pine and promise. Behind, Sarah and David walked slower, her head on his shoulder, rebuilding's quiet victory. Back home, as snow flurried, Elias surprised Alex with a custom sketch pad, leather-bound, inscribed for our unwritten pages. They made love by firelight, bodies a symphony of gratitude. Elias's whispers forever mine, echoing souls deep. Yet drama shadowed, even idols. A letter arrived for David, certified, from his state attorney. Marcus, in a final spiteful twist, had passed weeks prior. Overdose, ruled suicide. Enclosed a confession. I tailed Harlan that night, rage-blinded. The crash? My fault. Brakes tampered in jealousy. Forgive what I couldn't. The revelation detonated. David crumpled, guilt's fresh wave. He caused it? All this time. Sarah held him, fierce. not yours to carry alone. Alex processed in Elias's arms that night, sobs racking. Dad, gone because of some twisted love. Elias rocked him steady. Twisted, yeah, but ours? Pure. Use this, turn pain to purpose. They did. A memorial fund in Marcus's name, ironically, for queer mental health. David's idea, redemption's full circle. Alex blogged the layers. Silence kills, but truth heals. Winter solstice brought closure's light. Family gathered under twinkling trees, toasts to absolution. Elias pulled Alex to the balcony, snowflakes dancing. From erasure to this, are epic. Their kiss melted the cold. Love's narrative arc complete. Kismet in the storm. Winter's grip tightened, blanketing Seattle in crystalline hush. But within the queen and apartment, warmth bloomed unchecked. Alex and Elias, now 6 months married, navigated the post-gala glow with a deepened intimacy. Mornings where Elias's guitar serenades woke Alex to sketches of their entwined forms. Afternoons lost in design collaborations for the youth center's murals. At 23, Alex felt the weight of growth. His blog, Unerased Ink, now a podcast, episodes dissecting family secrets with guests like David, whose raw admissions drew tears and DMs of gratitude. Romance simmered constant. A spontaneous road trip to the San Juans, where they kayaked emerald bays, Elias's laughter echoing as seals bobbed curiously. Evenings in, Elias's fingers coaxing melodies while Alex painted, their feet tangled under the table, a brushstroke pausing for a kiss that tasted of turpentine and turmeric from experimental curries. But the Marcus letter's shadow loomed, a psychological undertow pulling at David. Therapy intensified, sessions spilling into family check-ins where Dr. Lena probed. Guilt's a thief, steals present for past ransom. Sarah anchored him, their marriage reforged in vulnerability. Renewal vows whispered over candlelit baths, her touch reaffirming we're whole. Alex sensed the strain during a center volunteer shift, David fumbling paint trays, eyes distant. Talk to me, Alex urged, dabbing cerulean on a wall depicting linked hands. David sighed, roller pausing. Nights. Dreams of that road. What if I'd stayed? Called Marcus out sooner? Then we'd be different stories. But this one's ours. Messy, meaningful. Alex clapped his back, the gesture paternal reversed. You're the stepdad who showed up now. Gratitude flickered in David's eyes. Love you, son. Elias, ever the harmonizer, organized a release ritual. A bonfire on Alki Beach, waves lapping as they burned effigies of regrets. Paper ghosts scrawled with silence, fear, flight. Flames danced, casting golden hues on faces. Sarah's serene smile, Elias's arm around Alex, David's quiet nod as ashes swirled skyward. To new chapters, Elias toasted with smuggled whiskey, lips brushing Alex's in salty benediction. Spring unfurled tentative, cherry blossoms carpeting streets like confetti for rebirth. The center thrived, expanded programs drawing national buzz. A documentary crew filming Visible Voices' origins, Alex's mural starring. But Kismet twisted anew. During a shoot, a producer pulled David aside. Heard about the crash. Off record. Marcus's estate? It mentioned a beneficiary. You. David's face drained. What? Back home that night. Envelope in hand. A check, substantial, from Marcus's life insurance. Note attached, for the harm I caused. Build something good. Stunned silence. Then outrage from Sarah. Blood money? No. Alex pondered, Elias's head on his shoulder. Or, redemption's gift? Use it for the center, scholarships for queer kids. David wept then, first tears Alex witnessed. Relief, absolution. Yeah, for futures, not faults. The fund launched. Marcus Memorial Scholarships, irony embraced as healing. Applications flooded, stories mirroring Alex's. Teens erased by families, reclaiming via art, music. Romance crested in May. Elias booking a surprise getaway to Portland. Foodie haven, his treat from tour residuals. They wandered Pearl District galleries, hands clasped, sampling truffle fries and microbrews. One rain-soaked evening, in a loft hotel overlooking the Willamette, Elias knelt. Not with ring, but a vintage guitar pick engraved our melody. Will you compose with me forever? Co-write this life? Alex laughed through tears. Pulling him up. Already am. Their night blurred into passion's crescendo, bodies slick with rain and desire. Elias's thrust a rhythm of devotion, gasps mingling with thunder. Mine always. Return brought drama's next act. A scholarship recipient, Jamie, a 17-year-old trans kid from Tacoma, reached out to Alex. Your story. It gave me courage. But my folks? Echoes of your erasure. Jamie visited the center, shy but fierce, sketchbook clutched like armor. Over coffee, tales tumbled, parental denial post-coming out, school bullying. David's fund? It's my ticket to art school. Inspired, Alex proposed a mentorship program, pairing elders like David with youth. David jumped in, his tech-savvy digitizing portfolios, stories shared over lunches. I hid too long. Don't you dare. But conflict brewed when Jamie's parents surfaced, storming the center in a fury of accusations. Brainwashing our kid, the father bellowed, mother tearful. Turn him normal. Security intervened, but the melee aired on local news. Youth center clash. Queer agenda? Backlash surged. Donor pullouts, protesters at doors. Sarah rallied board meetings, voice steel. This is why we exist. Safety, not siege. Elias organized a counter-concert. Harmony against hate, bands donating proceeds. Alex designed posters, fists blooming into flowers, slogan love doesn't divide. The event packed the venue. Jamie performing spoken word. Verses of transformation, voice trembling, then soaring. David emceed a segment, addressing the camera. I fled a crash once. Won't flee this fight. Crowd's energy electric, funds replenished tenfold. Post-show, Jamie hugged Alex. Thanks, mentor. As summer heated, family bonds solidified. A barbecue at the lake house, grills smoking with salmon and stories. Elias and Alex danced barefoot on the dock, sunset gilding their skin, his head on Elias's chest. Our rhythm's perfect. David pulled Alex aside, check in hand. For you too, honeymoon fund. From Marcus's goes to your future. Gratitude swelled. Your family, Dad. Winter's in mirrored new beginnings, the center a beacon brighter. In their bed, Elias's fingers laced with Alex's, whispers of dreams. Kid someday? Little artist? Alex smiled. With you? Absolutely. Love's tapestry, woven from erasure's threads, now a masterpiece, vibrant, enduring. Summer's zenith brought a heat wave to Seattle, the city shimmering like a mirage, but the youth center stood as an oasis of cool resolve amid the swelter. Alex and Elias, their marriage a year strong, thrived in the balance. Alex's podcast episodes now weekly features, interviewing queer icons on resilience. Elias headlining festivals, his tour bus a rolling studio where Alex joined for weekend jaunts, sketching stage lights, and starlit highways. At 24, Alex's body and spirit felt honed. Yoga sessions with Elias sculpting lean strength, their intimacy a evolving art. Mornings of lazy oral explorations, Elias's tongue a teasing prelude to deeper unions. Nights of role-play whimsy, Alex as mysterious stranger seducing his husband in candlelit baths. Romance punctuated the heat. A midnight picnic on Gasworks Park, kites tethered as anchors, Elias feeding Alex strawberries dipped in chocolate, juice staining lips for kisses that lingered sweet. You're my summer storm, Elias murmured, hand slipping under Alex's shirt, tracing ribs in the firefly glow. Family flourished too. Sarah and David, their bond tempered like steel, announced a sabbatical. A road trip down the coast, healing's mobile chapter. Time for us, Sarah confided over brunch, her eyes sparkling. And space for you wild ones. David nodded, hand over hers. Learn from the best, letting go to hold tighter. But paradise cracked with a call from Jamie. Alex? Trouble. Parents soothed the center, emotional distress from the indoctrination. Claiming David's involved, dragging the crash. Fury iced Alex's veins. Bastards. We're counter-suing defamation. Legal hounds mobilized. A pro bono queer firm, fierce as falcons. Depositions loomed. Jamie prepped with Dr. Lena's calm. Elias canceled a gig, prioritizing family first, even extended. The suit's publicity storm hit. Headlines screaming queer center sued. Crash cover-up ties? Protests swelled outside court. Rainbows clashing with picket signs. Alex testified first, voice steady on the stand. Erasure isn't protection, it's violence. The center gave Jamie what his parents stole, truth. Elias gripped his hand post-hearing. In the courthouse hallway's sterile hush. Warrior. David's turn gutted. Recounting the crash under oath. Marcus's tampered brakes. The flight's shame. Jurors leaned in, faces softening. Sarah's testimony sealed. Mother's plea for her son's world. I almost lost Alex to fear. Won't let Jamie lose to it. The gavel fell swift. Dismissal. Countersuit awarded damages for harassment. Parents slunk away. Jamie freed. Scholarship intact. Family ties severed but spirit soaring. Victory bash at the center. Toast with spiked punch. Elias jamming with Jamie's garage band. Amid the revelry, Alex pulled David to the mural wall, his phoenix vibrant. You slayed dragons today. David chuckled misty-eyed. We all did. Fall's harvest brought bounty. The settlement funded Center Expansions, a podcast studio named Unerased Airwaves. Alex and Elias co-hosting inaugural eps. Romance rekindled in harvest hues. Apple picking in eastern Washington orchards. Baskets overflowing as Elias pressed Alex against a tree. Cider-sweet kisses escalating to hurried trysts in the truck bed. Leaves crunching under urgent rhythms. But Kismet stirred deeper waters. Sarah's doctor's visit yielded news. Pregnant at 47. A miracle via IVF. Dream post-reconciliation. Your sibling. She beamed over video call from their coastal pit stop. Join us for the reveal. The family converged in Carmel. Ocean crashing as David popped champagne. Blue streamers? No. Pink, but queerness transcended. A sister, Sarah whispered, hand on belly. For all of us. Joy mingled with Elias's quiet muse. Kids talk. Real now. Alex nodded, heart full. When we're ready. Practice with a niece. Winter whispered in, holidays a mosaic. Christmas at the lake house. Tree trimmed with phoenix ornaments. Jamie joining as honorary kin. Gifting David a sketch of absolution roads. Elias's carol renditions. Alex's gingerbread murals. Laughter echoing. New Year's Eve. Balcony confetti and countdowns. Elias drew Alex close amid fireworks. Resolution. More us always. Their lovemaking post-midnight was celebratory fire. Elias topping with possessive grace. Alex's cries lost in bursts. Bodies a testament to year's triumphs. Spring heralded the baby's arrival. Little Mia, Harlan Rivera, tiny fists waving rainbow flags in utero dreams. Sarah's labor, a family vigil. David pacing, Alex and Elias tag teaming ice chips. Mia's cry pierced, Rosie perfect. And Alex? Uncle? The titles blurred in cuddles. Elias cooing lullabies as Alex sketched her button nose. But drama's embers glowed. An anonymous leak. Old voicemails from Marcus. David's voice pleading, end this before it destroys us. Tabloids twisted. Stepdad's dark pleas. Threat to family? David weathered. Statement crisp. Grief's echoes, not threats. Focus on now, Mia's now. Support flooded. Podcast eps dissecting media malice. Elias's new single. Echoes fade. Top charts. Lyrics of love outlasting lies. Summer circled back. Mia's baptism a lakeside affair. Godparents Alex and Elias. Vows of guidance. Romance peaked in anniversary getaway. Cabin in the woods, no signal. Just them. Hikes to waterfalls where Elias dropped to knees again. Renew? Every year. Alex's yes sealed with waterfall veils. Their union under cascades a primal rite. Water sluicing bodies as they joined. Gasps echoing nature's roar. Back. Center thrived. Jamie thriving at art school. Family picnics. Mia gurgling. Stories shared. Alex realized. Erasure scar faded to strength's tattoo. Love's chronicle. From silence to symphony. Played on. Harmonious. Infinite. As Mia's first birthday dawned in a burst of pastel balloons and sticky-fingered chaos, the Harlan Rivera clan had woven a tapestry resilient as Seattle's evergreens. Alex, now 25, balanced burgeoning fame, his podcast syndicating nationally, designs licensing for Pride merch with domestic bliss. Elias's tour schedule synced to homecomings marked by airport dashes, reunions exploding into hallway sex, coats barely shed. Their love, matured like fine whiskey, blended fire and comfort. Spontaneous role plays where Elias kidnapped Alex for forest picnics. binding wrists with silk scarf for teasing denials. Quiet anniversaries tracing tattoos in morning light. Whispers of eternal, punctuating slow, soulful thrusts. Romance's flame burned vivid. A surprise elopement renewal in Vegas. Just them and Elvis impersonators. Rings exchanged anew amid neon excess. Honeymooning in desert motels where cacti silhouetted their silhouettes against starry vaults. Family anchored deeper. Sarah, motherhood's glow undimmed at 48, juggled Mia with center duties, her advocacy sharpening. Keynotes at conferences railing against erasure laws. David, silver threading his hair, mentored a tech-for-good startup, channeling Marcus's fund into apps connecting queer youth globally. Jamie, now 19 and thriving, intern under Alex, their mentorship a sibling-like spark. Late nights brainstorming murals. Jamie's trans pride sketches inspiring Alex's next series. But Summer's idyll fractured with a call from Dr. Lena. David's session notes, suicidal ideation resurfaced. The voicemails triggered it. Panic surged. Alex raced to the lake house, Elias trailing with Mia's carrier as backup comm. David admitted them to his study. Face ashen, bottle of scotch half empty. It's back. The road, Marcus's voice in my head. What if I'm poisoned? To Sarah, Mia. You. Sarah knelt, cradling his face. You're our rock. Cracked but holding. Elias. Ever intuitive, suggested. Music therapy? Like my gigs, channel it. David balked, but Alex pushed. One session. For us. The therapist, a sound healer with crystal bowls, met at the center. David drummed tentatively. Rhythms uncoiling knots. Beats morphing from dirge to dance. Elias joined on guitar, improvising a riff that pulled David's voice into chant. Release. Rebuild. Tears flowed, cathartic. Post-session, David hugged Alex fierce. You saved me again, son. Fall's palette brought renewal's brushstrokes. The family embarked on a healing pilgrimage. Drive to the crash site's overlook, no fanfare. Just them, Mia babbling in her seat. They scattered wildflowers, David speaking to the wind. Forgive the runner. Honor the racer. Hands linked in circle, Elias's song soft, a ballad of roads redeemed. Back, David's ideation ebbed, therapy evolving to creative outlets. He took up woodworking, carving totems for the center. Phoenixes, rivers, fists unfurling. Romance for Alex, and Elias crested in autumn's embrace. Leaf peeping in the Methow Valley, cabin fever yielding to bonfire confessions. Kids, Elias broached, firelight gilding his features. Adopt? Foster? Our turn to guide. Alex's heart swelled. Yes, start the process. Winter holidays amplified joy. Mia's wobbly treetop replacement. Jamie's coming out anniversary toast. But drama ignited anew. A center volunteers expose. Internal emails revealing David's early donation for Marcus's check, twisted as hush money. Scandalette brewed, bored whispers of conflict. Sarah defended in meetings. Transparency's our creed. Donation disclosed years ago. Alex and Elias crafted a video response. Raw, fireside, Alex's voice steady. Ghosts pay forward? That's grace, not guilt. Views viralized, comments a tide of empathy. Donors reaffirmed. Volunteer reinstated after apology. Spring bloomed with adoption seminars. Home studies, interviews probing their union strength. Tell us about your love, the social worker prompted. Elias grinned. Started with beer and heartbreak. Built with songs and sketches. Unbreakable. Alex added, from Erasure's edge to this, family redefined. Approval came swift, matching with siblings. Twins, Luca and Sophia, 4-year-olds from foster limbo. Histories of parental loss echoing Alex's voids. The transition was tender tumult. First nights with nightlights and nightmares. Elias's lullabies soothing Sophia's tears. Alex's stories animating Luca's wide eyes. Romance adapted. Stolen moments in laundry folds. Quickies in the shower while kids napped. Passion undiluted but diffused. Summer's heat wave returned. Now with kiddie pool splashes and park barbecues. Jamie, home from college, Auntie and G with flair. Drag tutorials for Sophia's dress-up days. David crafted twin-size Phoenix beds. Mia, helping with hammer taps. But climax brewed. A national conference in D.C., center headlining. Protests loomed, conservative groups railing groomers, echoing Jamie's parents' venom. Security beefed, but en route, a tire blowout on I-5, eerie echo of the crash. Hearts hammered as tow trucks arrived, David white-knuckled. Not again. Elias cracked a joke, plot twist, flat for growth. The conference triumphed. Alex's keynote, from erased to emboldened, thundering halls. Protests fizzled under counter-rallies, rainbows overwhelming. Return home. Twins asleep, Elias pulled Alex to the balcony. Where legends love. Their kiss ignited, bodies reclaiming balcony rails. Elias entering slow, deliberate, gasps sinking with city pulse. Our family. Perfect. Fall's harvest reaped fuller. Twins preschool start. Mia's chatterbridging. David's totems sold at a gala. Proceeds soaring. In quiet nights, Alex sketched the clan. Lines of love linking all. Erasure? A prologue to this profound epilogue. Years folded like accordion pages. Time's merciful blur turning Mia's toddler tantrums into tween sass. The twins' finger paints into fierce comic strips. Alex at 28, helmed a design collective. Unerased Studios' satellite offices mentoring queer artists nationwide. Elias, 30, Grammy whispers circling his discography. Balanced stardom with dad duties. School plays where he voiced tree characters with operatic flair. Bedtime stories improvised into folk operas. Their marriage, a decade etched, pulsed with evolved passion. Date nights at speakeasies. Elias's hand possessive on Alex's thigh under tables, leading to hotel suites for uninhibited nights. Toys and trusts explored. Elias's dominance, a loving command. Alex yielding in ecstatic surrender. Romance's roots deepened. Annual vow renewals. This year's under northern lights in Alaska. Auroras dancing as they made love in a glass-domed igloo. Cosmos witnessing. Family sprawled vast. Sarah and David, grandparents now in spirit, retired to a Bainbridge Island cottage. Orchard tending, centerboard legacy. Mia, 10, prodigy violinist, her bows pulling heartstrings at recitals. Luca and Sophia, 8, a dynamic duo. Luca's superheroes battling erasure villains. Sophia's poems weaving rainbows into spells. Jamie, 23, trans advocate rising. Her TED Talk visible scars of viral beacon. David Shadows, vanquished relics, his woodworking a therapy turned trade. Commissions for global queer centers, each piece a talisman. But autumn's equinox brought reckoning's final gale. A documentary premiere, Silent Roads, filmmaker chronicling the crash's ripple, from Marcus's grave to Mia's giggle. Invite only, Seattle's Orpheum aglow. Red carpet buzzed, family arrayed, Sarah elegant in sapphire, David dapper, kids in mini tuxes and gowns. Alex and Elias, arm in arm, rings glinting. Elias's latest ink, a river entwining Alex's phoenix. Screen lit, footage raw, reenactments of a swerve. Marcus's voicemails echoing hollow. Interviews pierced. David's confessional gaze, running to find me, staying redeemed. Sarah's tear-streaked vow. Love erases nothing. It illuminates. Alex's closing. From stepson's sideline to family forged, truth's the ultimate plot twist. Applause thundered. Standing ovation, swelling tears. Q&A post-film. A heckler rose. Harlan profited from death. Blood on those hands. David stood, meek steady. Guilt was my chain. Is film my key? Questions welcome. Hate not. Dialogue flowed. Heckler disarmed by candor. Post-premiere reception. Toasts clinked. To roads less traveled. Later, rooftop after-party. Stars pricking velvet sky. Elias drew Alex to a corner. City sprawl below. Proud, love. Our story, epic. Alex leaned in, kiss deepening amid murmurs. Ours forever. Homeward, kids crashed in the van, dreams light. Dawn broke on Thanksgiving redux. A harvest feast at the cottage, tables groaning with roasts and recollections. Mia's violin serenade, twin skits parodying the doc's drama. Jamie's toast, to erasures overwritten. David raised glass last, voice gravel warm. Silence hid truths once. Now, we shout them in love. Clinks echoed, laughter rising. As night fell, Alex and Elias tucked kids, slipping to their room, guest bed a cocoon. Elias's hands roamed familiar paths, undressing with reverence. "Make love to me," Alex breathed, guiding. Elias complied, entry tender than tempestuous. Bodies a lifetime's dance, climaxes crashing in unison, whispers I do anew. Morning light filtered, Alex stirring to Elias's sketch, family portrait, lines infinite. "Our masterpiece," Elias said. Alex smiled, heart brimming. From Mom's second marriage's erasure, through Stepfather's veiled truths, emerged this, a legacy of love, unyielding, profound. In every queer heart, the story resonated, kith and kin, reclaimed and radiant. The end? No. Love's narrative, eternal draft, pages turning toward horizons bright.